11375 presents The Real Journey of an Entrepreneur, a live discussion that focuses on what it takes to be a real entrepreneur. We are excited to present to you a few courageous individuals who have consistently worked on their craft in the areas of finance, real estate development, mental wellness, the restaurant business, and economic development. They have taken a step of faith to make those dreams come true. We're kicking off this series tonight with a discussion about what it truly means to be a consultant, and we hope that you will join us live or view on replay at 11375. We thank you for supporting. So I kicked off the new year with an event called Vision 2020, which focused specifically on social entrepreneurship. And I had this thought to do this in mind, pretty much because I saw that there was a need to be able to provide foundational information to all business owners. With this particular event, I thought it would be a great idea just to gather a group of individuals who were interested in starting a business, who wanted to learn the fundamentals of what it means to be in a nonprofit, and then also, if you wanted to start a for-profit business, the pros and cons of each one as well. The first thing you have to think about is, going through the phase of concept phase and writing everything down as you want it to appear and you visualize as you want your business to grow. And then on the back end, what we did is we added in a portion specifically for discretionary funding and how you're able to pull that funding in or apply for that funding with the respective politicians that are currently in office. Right now, what I'm really focusing on is anyone who is looking to really try something different in the realm of starting a social entrepreneurship. I wanted to make sure that businesses, especially businesses of color, have that, resource and, foundation so that they could be successful long term. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to 11375. We are talking specifically about the journey of an entrepreneur. My name is Anita Pierce, and I'm the principal owner of 11375. We are a certified minority women business enterprise with the city and state of New York. We are your business social strategists, business coaches, and we help to provide foundational support to all business owners, particularly in the areas of foundational support, strategy, and we are your gap fillers. So if there's any need specifically to help to align your business with social impact, please consider supporting 11375. We will help to get you from your concept phase. We help write business plans, and we're looking to help us all support each other, particularly as we're in the midst of this pandemic. As we are talking about this time, majority of us, if not all of us, have considered, what is it specifically that we need to do in order to be able to focus on our next journey within our business. And one of the key things that we can all do, one is to think about collaborations and really thinking about how we can support each other during this process. There's some simple things that I have come across my time during this process over the past couple of months, just really looking to focus in on how is it that we're going to really be able to support each other. And even though we all may have had a lot of goals, a lot of focus within this year, 2020 has thrown us for a wrench. And so the best thing that I personally believe we can do is to collaborate across the board, whether it's helping each other with marketing, whether it's hosting virtual events, whether it's supporting restaurants, particularly the restaurants of color. And it's not just not to say that we can't support any, but when we think about our community, particularly businesses of color, there's always, and the statistic shows that there is more of an impact when we don't support our own. So we should be intentional about supporting one another. And one of the ways that we can do so is doing simple things like, as we are going into the holiday season, just some really small tips for social media. Think about those businesses that we want to support. Think about buying gift certificates. Think about if it's a food that you absolutely love, repost on social media. The branding and helping to market small businesses are free things that we can do. But the one thing that you can really do, particularly as it relates to businesses, restaurants, is definitely thinking about purchasing gift cards. So that's something that you can do. It's particularly since we shopping for Black Friday anyway. We could definitely lend the support to small businesses if they have any gift certificates, particularly for restaurants. So I wanted to offer, before we bring on our first guest, just some other tips for becoming more visible on social media. When it starts with me, when I am supporting my clients and their vision is during the business plan. And one of the things that I always recommend is including within your business plan in the finances. I know sometimes we may not want to confront the finances, is to create a line item specifically for your branding, your marketing and branding. It's okay to spend a couple of $100s. It doesn't have to be a whole lot of money, but make sure that you build that within your business plan. It helps to get the word out, and particularly since we're going to be in this virtual space for quite some time, or I say comma and, because we can also think about when we are and we're back open again, to add in this virtual space in addition to your meeting in person or whatever your business model is. Denisha and I talked about this last week, which is to use as many free services as possible to help to promote your business. Facebook, Instagram, all of those social media platforms, LinkedIn, there's a number of different platforms that you can use for free. Hashtags work. However, given that we're in this space and there are millions and billions of us that are on social media, it's important to kind of think through paying for the ad space so that your visibility can be elevated as well. Using Google My Business, that is a service that is for free. Obviously, if you want to really level the playing field and elevate your brand, think about paying for ads. Again, it costs and it goes based upon your budget, but I highly recommend utilizing Google My Business to pay for elevating your business brand. If you have a website, consider adjusting your SEOs or your search engine optimization as that it is known as. This will allow for, in addition to Google My Business, that anyone who wants to find your services, they can, and it will help by the keywords that you plug into your website. And then the other thing is that, especially if you are a solo person and you're just starting out, schedule your content. It's okay that you schedule your content. You can use sites such as Canva. They offer free, but if you go for the pro services, you can actually schedule it and go through your specific web pages or links and websites that you're using in order to be able to promote and put your business out there on a regular basis. So those are just some short tips. I'm actually going to put them on the website after we finish this evening. And so without further ado, I want to actually introduce the speaker of the hour, because I think that in this industry that we're in, while I consider myself a great chef, I actually had an opportunity to attend this restaurant, and the food is really good. And so, without further ado, I know you don't want to see my face as much. I'm going to introduce a video.
My name is Chef Brandon Walker. I'm the owner-operator of Essies Restaurant. Culinary arts became my passion at a very, very young age when I was cooking with my mom and all the women in my family growing up. It started with my mom. I would just help her out with anything in the kitchen. If she was grating carrots for carrot cake, making fried chicken, whatever it is that she needed me to do in the kitchen, I did it with her. My grandmother, Inez, who is from Caribbean background, from Jamaica, she would expose opportunity to work at a 3-star hotel on Park Avenue, New York City. I worked in different departments of the hotel, and I got the opportunity to work in the kitchen. And then once I worked in the kitchen, I really knew that this was what I wanted to do as a career. And then I eventually went back to high school and started looking up different colleges to attend, and I found the Culinary Institute, and I did 4 years there. Upon graduating, I have worked in New York City majority of my career, working at very high-end restaurants to perfect my craft, to be the best chef that I can be, and to kind of put myself through the gauntlet so that way I can be a good technical chef. I eventually left New York City, decided to travel, and I wanted to travel because I loved food. I wanted to expose myself for different cultures, different opportunities to meet different people from around the world, to give myself a well-rounded palate and also a well-rounded perspective of food. After traveling, I decided that, I always wanted to open and run my own business. I decided to, come back to the Hudson Valley because the Hudson Valley is a great place. Growing up, I thought New York was just New York. I thought it was just the 5 boroughs. But once I came to the Culinary Institute, I realized that New York has a bigger landscape than what I thought was New York. And I just fell in love with the Hudson Valley. Hudson Valley has to offer tons of farms, distillers, brewers, tons of artisans like myself, chefs, who are all working towards the same goal, and that is to provide a great product, a great service, to provide quality food using local ingredients. Upon coming up to the Hudson Valley and working in the area, we decided to step out and take the leap to become an entrepreneur and open up a restaurant. And we're in the business 3 years now, and here you have it, Essies Restaurant. I named the restaurant after my grandmother because I wanted to pay homage to the women in my family. They were all great cooks. They inspired me to be a chef because of the exposure to food, family and friends, and flavor profiles. We've been here 3 years now, and our approach is to make American food with global influences. So what that means to me is to pull flavors from around the world, to pull flavors from my heritage, which is the Caribbean and the American South, to create food that is approachable, food that people will recognize, but when they see it on a plate and they taste it, the flavor profiles are totally what they didn't expect. That is our goal. Our goal is to provide the most exceptional dining experience, but it be approachable and not too stuffed, too cramped, but really casual and elegant at the same time.
So I have the distinct honor of welcoming to the table Chef Brandon Walker, who is a Brooklyn native. He is a chef and owner of Essies Restaurant in Poughkeepsie, New York. He is a graduate of the Culinary Institute of America in Hyde Park, New York, and has a range of professional experiences within the culinary arts. I just want to say the food is good. It is really good. And so without further ado, I want to welcome Chef Brandon Walker to the table.
Hello, how are you? How's everybody doing tonight?
Hi,
Anita,
Chef Brandon.
how you doing? Anita, thank you again for this opportunity. I really appreciate it. Giving me the opportunity to talk to your
be able to talk on your platform and to your viewers. Appreciate that very much.
Yeah, we definitely appreciate you, Chef Brandon. So I want to just jump right in because I have a lot of folks who are friends of mine that are interested in going into the restaurant business. But before we unpack your journey, tell us
Mm-hmm.
a little bit more about who you are, because I think that in looking at your bio, I think you have just a little bit more to tell the audience.
Yeah, well, again, I'm a Brooklyn native. Grew up in Brownsville, Brooklyn. Back in the days where Brownsville, they said it was the worst place to raise a kid. You're not gonna come out of that neighborhood and make anything of yourself. I'm fortunate enough that I had good parents. I had a good structure at home that kept me on the right path, and decided to pursue education in culinary arts. Came from a very hardworking family. My dad was an engineer. My mom did a lot of administrative work. She also is a pastor of a church. So I had spiritual growth. I had spiritual inspiration. I had I call my mom and dad the yin and the yang because my father brought the rod, and my mother was kind of like the person that would kind of calm everything down and keep everything in line. So we come from humble beginnings, hardworking people, and I really learned at a young age that I wanted to be a chef, and I just went all in. I went all in. I got the opportunity to work for a high end chefs earlier during my career when I was about 18 years old, and I just put my head down and kept grinding it out, and it has paid off. And hard work and dedication. If you really want to do something, you can make it happen. So I left Brooklyn, came to the Culinary Institute, did my education there, graduated. I worked on a farm for a while and I was a cheese maker at one point, so I was making cheese for a little bit. Experienced that, and then I decided to leave the country after upon graduating and work in New York, travel a bit, and just decided to really try to expand on my knowledge and my education, and really really just try to hone my skills as much as I can. um I love to cook. I love food. I love learning about cultures. I mean, to me that's what America is. America is a melting pot of cultures, and it's on us if we don't take the opportunity to learn what's around us, especially if you're in a big major city and all the cultures are there. Japanese, Chinese, Indian, Korean, you name it. Middle Eastern food, Arabic food. We have all those cultures at our fingertips. We should be willing and able to go and try new and different flavor profiles and different things, because that's what's around us. So um, I love food. I love learning about culture. I love music. Um, I love alcohol, as far as learning about wine, learning about distillers, trying different things and stuff like that. So anything based around food, I love it, and it's my passion. It's what I love to do. What I want to learn about. Um, that's pretty much me. I'm a simple guy, but talk about food, we can talk all day.
So let's talk more in depth about so you created this business, and
Yes.
you've been in business, I believe, for how long?
Yeah, the video said 3, but from that made that video, it's been 4 years now. So this year we celebrated 4 years. And if you don't know a lot about the restaurant industry, the restaurant industry is one of the if you want to, it's one of the most statistically says that it's a business that has the highest failure rate. Is basically what I'm trying to say. So, if you want to get into this business, you really gotta love it, and you really have to really have a concept that you believe in, and no matter how hard it gets, that you gotta keep pushing forward. And the reason why it's has the highest percentage of being unsuccessful, because there's a lot of variables that go in there. Location, there's how good your product is, and people, does the market really want your product? Does your product solve a problem? What are you bringing to the table? What's your unique selling point? So, so in other words, I was saying that to say that we reached the not the finish line, but the pinnacle of being successful, and saying that, okay, if you last 4 years, statistic data says if you last 4 years and beyond, then you're going to be around for a while. So we reached that that guideline of saying, hey, we're going to be around for a little bit. It's been challenging, like any business that you start, but we stayed the course. We stayed consistent. I believed in my brand. I believed in my dream, and I believed in what I do and what I have to bring to the table. And that's why we're here now. Along with other things, marketing and getting involved in the community. Um, you know, um, really just trying to let the community know that, hey, we're here not only just to be a restaurant, but we're here to support our community too.
And so you made your fourth year in the midst of COVID. Let's
Correct.
let's talk about that.
So, pre-COVID, I had all these ideas of, okay, yes, we're in our fourth year. I was really excited about the fourth year because, it's like a mountain you're climbing when you're at year one. Okay, year two, year three, year four is like, yeah, we hit it. We're gonna be around. Things, it should be an uptick from here now, and what do you know? COVID hits and the whole state gets shuts down, and now I have to repivot. I have to retool, and luckily for us, my business is small, so I had to, on the kitchen side. I said, okay, I had to furlough the staff on the kitchen and the front of the house staff. I said, you know what, business is going to drastically drop. I had to furlough my staff, and I said, all right, I got to shrink the menu. I have to, do a little bit more work on my own. And that's what I did. I shrank my menu. I made my menu more of more of the to-go style, fast casual, dinner combos and stuff like that, more comfort food, so to speak. And it got us through the tough times. I shrank my labor, and I was doing everything. My wife would help me out every now and then, but for the most part, we hung in there, and we call all our vendors and talk to them and say, hey, look, this is what's going on. Luckily, we have a good relationship with them, and they work with us as well, and we're doing okay. But at the same time, I could have said, oh, that's it, let's close up shop, let's go. But that's not what I wanted to do. I believe in what we do. I believe what the value that we add to the community, and I decided to stick it out. There's a lot of restaurants who are a little bit older than me who decided to close their doors. But it's definitely been challenging. But luckily for us, we're hanging in there, and we're taking it one day at a time, and we're making it happen. So,
And there's key things that you mentioned about how you were able to weather during this time of challenge. Because I think oftentimes when we see someone jumping into business, we think of all the fluff, what's
yeah.
on Instagram. But the truth is, there are times that you will have to scale back, and you have to make challenging decisions that not only impact yourself, right, but all
Mm-hmm.
the people that you support. Um,
Correct.
so, and on that side, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, what are some of the other things that you're doing for, your staff? Because I know that you're not back at full capacity as of yet. So what are some
No.
that you're doing for your team members?
Well, I mean, I think first and foremost, I feel like as a business owner, you have to be very transparent. You have to be transparent with people, because at the end of the day, we're all people. We all have families. We all are human beings, and I think transparency is key, because if you're very transparent with your staff, then you start to develop a relationship of loyalty, saying that, hey, we know that people are not going to be 100% loyal, but at the same time, you want to develop some type of repertoire with your staff and develop some type of transparency that they feel comfortable saying, hey, wow, he didn't have to do that, or she didn't have to do that, but at least I see that they care about my well-being and my family, that they're doing this and that. You know what I mean? So, as of right now, it's been challenging because most of my staff who were employed, I mean, they didn't return. For what reason? Who knows? I don't know, but they didn't return. So I'm in the process of rehiring again to build my staff back up so that way we can continue to operate. That has been challenging as well. But for the most part, we just telling staff how it is. This is how we're operating at this moment. At any given moment, that could change. We might need to scale back hours again. But I feel like, I'm being as transparent as I can be given the situation. So that way there's no false hope of having full-time hours or part-time hours or whatever, how many hours that particular individual is looking for, because what happens next is really out of my control. Do I want to run a restaurant at 25, 50% capacity? No, I don't. But, it is what it is. We want to keep everybody safe. The health is wealth right now. And what's important to me is that we keep my staff safe. I keep myself safe, and the community safe as well. So that way we can continue to operate when this is all over and we can get back to some type of normalcy.
Yeah. And thank you for sharing that, because most times, like I mentioned, most entrepreneur, even businesses, don't want to share, some of the challenges that they may be experiencing, and they think that everything is just level and gravy, and it's not.
Nah.
I wanted to ask about, because I've been to the restaurant, and actually you and I had a chance to meet. Our initial meeting was when you hosted the Upstate New York Black Chamber of Commerce. That was
Yes,
probably a year, I believe it was like a year ago.
I believe so. Yes.
And I noticed that because I was venturing out and trying to figure out my life still.
Right.
And I think that one of the things that I personally love about your restaurant is that it has this home feel. Like when you walk in, it's like this, like you sitting on the couch and you waiting for grandma to make the meal, that type of feel.
Yeah.
Why did you decide to design, or what was your vision behind creating an environment like that for your customers?
So, when I was thinking of the restaurant, and when I think of any concept, I look at it at the point of being a customer myself.
Mhm.
You know, when I come into a space that I'm going to dine at, I want to feel good. I want to feel comfortable. I don't want to feel like the place is snooty or you have to be so perfect that if you don't walk the right way, people can see that you're not walking the right way. So I wanted to create a space where people can come in and feel comfortable. If they had a hard day at work, they just want to come and relax and they don't feel any tension. It's just real. It's just love. I want people to feel love. I want people to feel loved when they come into the restaurant. Like I wanted them to feel like they were at my dinner table in my house or in my home. So when we envisioned that, I thought about, as far as what I wanted the place to look like. I love industrial tones. I love farm style tones, rustic wood, so upon the designing, we had brick already, exposed brick already. I love exposed brick too. So the exposed brick was already there. So what I needed to do was just add all the industrial and wood tones and stuff like that we wanted, that country industrial feel. And that's what we did. And then, we added some benches to the restaurant and some hardwood tables. And then it just started to come together, and that feel that we wanted, it came. It just automatically just came together really, really nicely. And that's what we envision. We envision a space where you can come, have a great meal, have a great glass of wine, and have the energy in the room be really calm, comforting, and help you and make you feel like you're in my private home having dinner and having a meal with me. And that's what we aim for, and we nailed it. And it's a great experience 'cause a lot of people say that. And then also a lot of people say this reminds me of a restaurant in Brooklyn. So, we get that a lot too. But that's what we wanted. We wanted to create a space that people can really relax and enjoy themselves and have a great meal. Because at the end of the day, we're all customers to a certain extent. And then when we go out to eat for whatever occasion it is, we want to have a good time.
So how did you develop your price? Because the other thing I want to mention as well is that this is, even though it has the home style feel, like you're in someone's couch, you mimic it and you design it as a 5-star restaurant, because that's what I believe it is. It has like this
Mm-hmm.
comfort, but with 5-star service. Like, how
Yeah.
did you come up with your pricing model when you first decided to open?
So, so throughout my career, I've worked in many high-end restaurants. So during the development of the restaurant, and what I mean by high-end restaurants, I mean like, the restaurant has a tasting menu. There are three stars in the New York Times, well-renowned chefs in the industry. And so since I've worked, my pedigree is that I wanted to create a space that was that, but wasn't that. Does that make sense? So I wanted to be real. I wanted it to be elegant, but not super, super fine dining. The fact that where people will feel uncomfortable in this market in the Hudson Valley or in the community that I'm in. So we operate at a high level, but our food is super approachable, and it's super approachable, but it's not like off the edge where you don't know how to read the menu and understand what that particular dish is on the menu. And then because of that, we decided to get the pricing is we have to cost out your ingredients. You have to cost out your dishes. And standard in the industry is your food cost is 30%. And we basically look we looked in the we work with vendors who have good pricing, and we manage our costs by looking at our costs each week, and that's how we come up with our pricing. So you have to cost out your dishes, and there's a formula out there. You cost out your dish, you cost your dishes out, then you use the 30% as a guideline for your food costs. And once you're hitting your food costs, once you cost out your menu and stuff like that, then that delegates what your price is going to be. So it's very important that you know how much your ingredients cost and know how much your dishes cost, so that way you can set your prices appropriately. And in this industry, the margins are very thin, so you have to really search out for good quality ingredients at an affordable price, so that way you could meet the demand of the market and try to make a little money and put money in your pocket as well.
And the taste, the season.
Well, I mean, it's about love. You gotta love to cook. And it also, for me, how I create my menus is I think about, okay, what specific um flavor profile or what specific region of the world that I would like to showcase throughout my menu for that season. And then I start playing around with recipes. And then I make a dish 3 or 4 times until I get it the way I want it to be. Then I'll cost it out to make sure that the price point is good where I need, so that way I can make a little money and give a good product. And then I put it on my menu. And then it's all about refining, fine tuning until you get you know the right flavor that you want and the right taste that you want. And I believe that if you're really passionate about cooking and you really love to cook, you don't get a good bad meal from a specific person, because if they're putting their heart and soul into something, you're gonna taste that in their food. If someone's just throwing it together, you're gonna taste that too. So it's about, and that can go for any type of genre. It can go for design, marketing. When someone is really genuine and passionate about what they do, because it comes out when they're speaking and talking, and you can feel it. You know. So that's just how I am with my food. When people come to the restaurant, I put my heart and soul in all the time, and they say they see it. When I talk to the guests at the table. So that's what keeps me motivated and keep me going. But costing is very important. You have to cost out all your products and cost out your dishes, so that way you know how much that particular ingredient and that plate costs. So that way you can set your prices appropriately, meeting this industry standard of 30% food costs in the restaurant.
That's great to know. So what do you believe your competitive advantage is over a number of restaurants within the location where you are? Because one of the things that I did discover is that you're near a very popular tourist site, and I
Yeah.
didn't realize that until after I had
Hmm.
visited and got warm, and I was able to really take a tour. But you have like what I consider like prime real estate in terms of your
Yeah.
location.
Yeah, I mean, now that when I first opened 4 years ago, um, I chose that neighborhood because when you're trying to open up a restaurant, one of the key factors that plays in your restaurant is location, 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 and the location of your business. Because you want to make sure you have a lot of walking traffic, so that way people know you're there and you have that brand awareness of the restaurant being there. Transportation is key too. If you're close to a bus stop or a train station, people can have easy access to you. Or if you're close to an attraction like the walkway over the Hudson, which we're close to, that's good as well. And 4 years ago, I didn't know what was happening. What's happening in the city where I'm now wasn't happening 4 years ago.
Mhm.
So there's a lot of development going on, a lot of revitalization, and we're in that area where a lot of it is going on. So we benefited from that, and that's why I really chose the area because I knew that I wanted to be the anchor of that neighborhood because there wasn't a lot of restaurants there at the time. So I wanted to come to an area where I can kind of like be the anchor of the neighborhood and really bring some traffic back to that area because I believe in this town and it was close to the train station. So if people coming up from the city, they could just walk to the restaurant from the train station. Um, and what's unique about me and the restaurant is that we try to bring unique flavors and do different things than other restaurants. Because I cook American food with global influences. And what that means is that, again, like I was saying before, we have a lot of cultures in America. What is American food? We don't really have an identity, but what we have is a lot of melting pot of cultures. So why not use that? Why not be inspired by that and learn about those cultures and use those flavor profiles to create American food? Because that's to me, that's what it is. And that's what I try to do. I mean, my guests know that every time they come to the restaurant, they're going to get something different and unique. And that's what we try to do. We try to bring different and unique flavors to the community so that way they can try something new. But at the same time, when it's menu, they're gonna know what it is. If that makes sense. So I can do a roasted chicken on my menu, but it be inspired by Mexican cuisine or a specific region in Mexico, and it has those flavor profiles. Or I can be inspired by, like, I created a dish called goat bolognese, which is basically a homage to my Caribbean heritage, a homage to Moroccan culture and Italian culture in one dish. And it's because I make fresh pasta. Pasta is indigenous to Italy. Make fresh pasta, fresh cavatelli pasta. I'm making a bolognese sauce, paying homage to Italy again. But the flavors of the sauce are Moroccan inspired. So we put a lot of Moroccan flavors in there, cumin, coriander, saffron, fenugreek. And we make this meat sauce that's Moroccan inspired and Italian inspired. And then I use goat as the meat because I grew up on goat. In Caribbean, Jamaican culture, there's curry goat, there's goat dishes there in the Caribbean. So I wanted to infuse all those inspirations into one dish, and that's how I did it. And that's what's great about food for me. And that's why I like to cook. That's why I label my restaurant as an American restaurant with global influences because to me that's what America is. And being able to have all those cultures at your fingertips, you should take advantage of that, and that's what's unique about us. You know.
So I'm going to ask about the importance of collaboration. So you're in the restaurant business,
Mm-hmm.
and that's part of what you do because I know that you also have B&L Hospitality as another business entity that's a part
Mm-hmm.
of your business model. Can you describe more about what that is?
Yeah. So the being a hospitality. So I have my plan is to become one of the restaurant groups in the area as well. And you do that by building other brands and starting other concepts under one umbrella. So eventually, once we start to open up more concepts, being a hospitality is our mother company, is our hospitality group company, where we will provide consulting services. We do a little catering out of there as well. Um, private chef events or private chef dinners and stuff like that. So essentially, that's my brainchild, my mother company. That's the main umbrella that all the restaurants would be under. Um, so you know how you see other restaurateurs, they have Union Square Group, or or the Lowe's Group. So it's similar to that, the corporate structure that because I believe in doing things the right way, and if you're gonna start right, you have to start out the right way. And as far as owning a business, having all your ducks in a row, because number one, you want people to take you seriously. You don't want them to look at you like you're not serious about business. So, you have to get all the proper information so that way you can set up your business the right way and not go backwards and trying to remake things right instead of doing it right out the gate. So, I believe in structure and order, and because once you have all those things lined up, um, people will take you seriously, and you can move in the right direction of opening up your business and not backtracking to fix things that wasn't done in the beginning the right way. So that's what we do with that business. It's been a little dormant at the moment, but as we start to open up more concepts, and I start putting more structured stuff in place to kind of backtrack out of being in the kitchen every day and hiring people to run the businesses and stuff like that, then that business would take more of a shape than what it is right now. So, but the structure is there, which is more important at this time.
So how challenging is it for you to come out the kitchen and allow someone
Uh,
else to do the work?
it has its challenges, but I also know how the challenging part is finding the right person. That's the challenging part, because if you have the right person, then it's easy, you know. But if you don't have the right person, it's more challenging because that's your baby, that's your brainchild, and you want to see it succeed. You want to see it progress. You want to see it grow, and then if you don't have standards in place and you don't have the right people in place, then that what you've built can slowly diminish, because as a brand and as a business owner, you create a reputation in the community of excellence, and you want that excellence to keep growing. You don't want it to diminish. And when you create something in excellence and you work every day to be as great as you can be, or work as excellent as you can be, you know, it can be ruined in the next day because someone didn't follow the standard, or someone made a mistake with the food, or someone made a mistake, or whatever it may be. So, it's very important to have a standard in your business that you can teach people how to uphold, to make your brand keep growing. I think that's a challenge for every business owner who wants to expand and grow. There's going to be some ups and downs when you try to expand, but for the most part, it's the challenge is finding the right person to help you carry out that vision, who's going to believe in that vision to help you get you to the next level. Because um, managing people is very hard, because you have to be able to invest in them as well, and they have to believe that you're trying to invest in them as well too. That's my job. My job is to find the right person to run the business if when I'm not there, and find the right person who I can be able to, as a business owner, invest in them so that way they see that I'm trying to help them grow as well. Because let's truth be told, who wants to work for a company who's not willing to invest in them, their well-being, or their professional growth anyway?
No one.
You know what I mean? So it's twofold. You have to find the right person who believes in your brand and believes is going to one who wants to help you build your vision. And me as the entrepreneur has to be able to add value to that person who wants to come on the team too. Because it's an even trade. If they're going to add value, then I have to add value to them too. You know?
So now I'm curious, as we come up on our hour, it looks like we haven't been here that long, but we actually have been. But I wanted to see if you'll be willing to offer some tips.
Absolutely.
Because we talked about how you pivoted during this time, and that you have in the fourth year have joined this global pandemic, but you're still around, and you're still doing the business pivot. What advice would you give someone who's watching right now
Mhm.
about if they wanted to start a restaurant business? What few tips can you offer them?
Just what I would offer to them to do, first of all, if you don't have any experience in the restaurant industry, I would highly suggest that you try to get some experience in the restaurant industry. Because if you don't have any experience, you're gonna run up against a lot of issues that you have no experience in. And if you had that experience, you know how to handle those situations. Um, so I would advise them to learn as much as you can about the restaurant industry, whether that be, you know, um, working as a server, maybe getting a shift in the kitchen, peeling carrots or something. Learn all the aspects as much as you can. Learn the business side of the business of the restaurant industry, how to cost out food. Even if you don't have any industry experience with the restaurant, if you're gonna hire individuals to work the restaurant for you, make sure that you really do your background checks and make sure that these individuals are highly skilled in their craft, because they're the ones who are going to be running the business for you. And if they're not highly skilled, then you're going to have some issues down the road. And if you have to be prepared for somebody to walk out of your business and you be able to jump in to work the business if you have to at the end of the day, because it happens. You have to have it set to the point where if you have a manager managing and they decide they're going to quit, whoever's their understudy has to be ready to move in if that person decides they're going to quit. So that's what I would give to people, to get as much experience as you can in the industry. Um, Learn, figure out what your unique selling point is going to be as far as the restaurant is going to be, how you're going to manage it, how are you going to staff it. um, really hire good professionals to work for the business. Make sure you have a good accountant. Make sure you have your corporate structure in line. Make sure that if you find a space, if you're going to figure out if you're going to find a space that already was a restaurant, or you're going to are you going to do a total build out, because all those things cost money. So make sure you learn about what permits you need to have if you want to open up a restaurant, stuff like that, and be prepared to work long hours. You know,
So I have two follow-up questions. The first is the startup cost, because oftentimes we miss,
mhm.
what the startup cost could potentially be if you decide to, as you mentioned, own and build out the business or actually leasing the space. Would you be able to give us a peek as to what that could look like for a new business?
It could range from 150K to $1 million. It just depends. It depends on the space, depends on the location, it depends on the city where you are. It depends on a lot of things, but anywhere from 150K to $1 million depends on how much money you want to spend. You know, it varies. So it just depends on the space, how much square footage you have, what type of restaurant you're gonna operate. If it's gonna be a sit down, is it gonna be a fast casual, quick serve? Um, Are you gonna lease your equipment? Are you gonna buy it straight out and buy brand new equipment? Are you gonna buy used equipment? Um, do you have to do a whole new build out where you need to do you have to build your kitchen? You're gonna need architects. You're gonna need, someone who's gonna help you build it out and measure out everything. You're gonna need construction costs to actually build the restaurant out. So it just really depends. Then you got to buy food. You got to buy chairs, tables. You got to outfit your bar. So it really depends on what type of concept you have and how you want the restaurant to look, and how big the space that you have is going to really determine what your cost is going to be. But it could range from 150K to about $1 million, or maybe even more.
And did you have to work with a banker or some sort of other financial institution to help to offset some of your initial costs?
Yeah, I mean, I went to a few lenders. I got told no several times. But I went the untraditional route, and I went with a private funding company called Community Capital. They do a lot of community work and stuff like that, and they helped me with some funding, and that's what helped me offset my funding as well. So, um, because again, the restaurant industry is one of the highest rated unsuccessful businesses to open up. So, banks are a little leery to lend you money if you don't have experience running a restaurant, or if you don't have any type of like background in the restaurant and you just want to do it. But then again, if you have a lot of money saved up and you don't need them to give you a portion of it, they probably would do it too. So it just depends on the situation, and the bank that you go to. But also, it's always good to have your own money to open up the business as well.
So that's good to know. Very good to know.
Yeah.
See,
And I and I and I also would say that also too that depending upon where you're going to do it, you also can check your local community, see if they have any economic development money as well, in the community. Because sometimes cities offer, business owners, economic development funding because they bring in commerce to the community and stuff like that. So check all your local resources in the municipality that you're in. Sometimes there's funding there too as well, because the city wants people to open up businesses because it's good for taxes, it's good for the community, and stuff like that. So
and my second question, you mentioned about the long hours, right?
yes.
So what does a typical day look like when your restaurant is open when you're there? What does that look like?
I'm usually there by 9 a.m. and I'm usually gone by 10, 11 o'clock at night. In the height when with pre-COVID, when we were busy, I'm done by 11 p.m. So, and then even when we're closed, I'm still working. So, I don't stop working. I work 7 days a week. So the days that we're closed, I have to go and do my bills, do my admin stuff, send emails, try to get new clients as far as, catering events and stuff like that. So, the work never, as an entrepreneur in general, the work never stops. I'm also thinking about, you know, new menus, new ideas. How can I push the restaurant forward? What can we do differently? You know, um, just always thinking about ways to be better. So my brain never stops as an entrepreneur, because you want to be better, you want to get better, you want to empower people. I have to take time for myself to kind of de-stress and like take a seat back and kind of think, kind of get my mental together, because it's stressful. You have a lot of things going on. You have to worry about the rent, you have to worry about the staff, you have to worry about the kitchen, you have to worry about everything. It's all on me. You know what I'm saying? So, but all in all, what keeps me going is my passion for what I do. I love food. I love cooking for people. I love hospitality as a whole, and that's what keeps me going. When someone comes into my restaurant and they and you make them cry just by eating food, or you evoke a childhood memory, or the food is just that great and it's really good, and they tell me that helps me keep going. No matter how bad my day was, that's the evidence that I'm doing the right thing, and it keeps me going. So, really, really love food and really love what I do, and I'm always willing to share with people as much as I can, because we have to bring each other forward.
So Chef Brandon, we have some questions from the audience. I'm going to show it on screen.
Okay.
This is from Annie Pink. Hey, Annie. She says, this is such a blessing for me to hear. Cooking is therapy for me and want to start a small catering business at home first. Any advice on how to start that?
Yes, I'm not sure. I don't know where you live, Annie Pink, but I don't think you can start it out of your house as far as sanitation guidelines. I think you're gonna have to find you like a small commercial kitchen that is like health department approved. So that way you can prepare your food and then you can sell it that way. Because at the end of the day, once you start doing that cooking and stuff like for the general public, the health department wants to keep everybody safe. They want to make sure that the food is being held properly, proper temperature, and you're cooking it at the right temperatures and you're holding it at the right temperatures. So, I would check out. I would start a business plan. Number one, think about what you want to call your business. What's your unique selling point? What's your niche? And I would start trying to find commercial kitchens that you can rent time to do your prep if you have little events and if you want to sell your food. Um, you can do stuff like that to get started. So that way, your food is safe and you can cook it there and bring it to a point where wherever you want the people to pick them up at. So that way you're abiding by all the guidelines and you know that your food is safe and you keep people safe. And then you can start like that. Yes, absolutely start small. Um, but starting out of your house, I don't know about specifically because I don't, you want to make sure you don't get anyone sick. Not to say you will, but anything can happen in this day and age. And I would hate for you to get into a situation where someone's trying to sue you and take you for everything you got and this and that and the third. So definitely, I would definitely encourage you to definitely do that. Start a business plan. Think about how you're going to be different than any other caterer in your area. If you never worked for a caterer before, definitely try to get a job with a caterer. Anything they want you to do, even if you want to work for free for one day out of a week, so you can at least be in the environment and see how they operate their catering business. See who the number one caterer is in your area. If you can't get any, no one's gonna turn down free help. So, you know, find out who the number one caterer is and go work for them. If they don't have any space for you, find out who the number two caterer is. Go work for them. So that way, at least you're in the industry and you're gaining experience, and you can see if you really, really want to do and open up your own catering business.
And so it's interesting that you mentioned the commercial kitchens because is that where could one find a commercial kitchen either up here or where could they search? Is it just a simple Google search to be able to
Um,
find a commercial kitchen?
yeah, yeah. There you can go on Google commercial kitchens for rent or something like that. I think you can Google that. And there are certain areas where I know you can do that, find that in the city. And then now I think now they're calling it ghost kitchens now, where
Mm.
you can prepare your food in a specific space and then have Uber or DoorDash come pick up food for someone else, for another customer and stuff like that. So, maybe you can start doing it that way as well. But I think if you put I believe you put a Google search commissary uh, um, or commissary kitchen or kitchen for rent, you probably get a whole long list of kitchens in your area who are willing to rent you the space out for you to prep. Also, you can check out there are nonprofits out there that have incubator kitchens too, where you can go and rent space out to prep. If you're trying to develop a product, you can go there and cook and test your product out. So you can check out that as well. Food incubators, you can do that as well. Um, there's a whole bunch of stuff out there. A lot of it is not coming to my mind right now, but there's tons of stuff out there.
So Chef Brandon is definitely encouraging you to do your research and make sure your foundation is solid. And
100%.
And wrapping up, Chef Brandon, we have the holidays coming, and with all that's happening with the pandemic, um, first of all, are you all delivering? What type of services are going to be happening? That's your restaurant for next week?
Yeah, unfortunately, in
I'm
the
not-
past, I've taken Thanksgiving as time off to be with my family. I worked so hard throughout the year, and I just made a conscious decision. So, you know what? I'm gonna not do anything on Thanksgiving. I'm gonna spend that time with my family and enjoy my family. So, this year we won't be doing any delivery, but there has been a few opportunities presented to me, which might change my mind for next year. So, we'll see. Right now, we're just playing it by ear and just taking it one day at a time.
And so, for if someone wants to place orders now in advance of not wanting to cook like myself, How could we go about in finding the way to order in advance of not wanting to cook on Thanksgiving?
You could go if you want. You can order because we'll be open the day before Thanksgiving. So you can go to www.essiesrestaurantpk.com and our website and click the order online button, and you can order whatever you like off our website. You can go to Grubhub. We're on Grubhub. We also have a relationship with DoorDash. So if you order off our website and you click delivery, you can get it delivered through DoorDash. You can find us on Instagram, Essies Restaurant PK. You can find us on Twitter, Essies Rest, and you can find us on Facebook, Essies Restaurant PK. Someone also had a question. Food incubators. I've never heard of that. Very interesting. Yes. So it's basically sometimes there are a lot in like nonprofit organizations who have these commercial kitchens where they help people develop their product and develop their brands, give them a space to go and try it out and develop it so that way they can take it to market. I think they help them. I believe they help them do business plans and stuff like that, and walk them through the process of taking their product from a trial basis and an incubation phase to actually taking it to market, to actually opening up their business, producing the product, and actually putting it in the market where people are actually buying it. So they do exist, if that makes sense.
I hope that answers your question. Hey, Kiana.
Does that answer your question, Kiana? Just let us know.
I hope that does. So, um, some tips for those who can't cook, Chef Brandon, because we
Tips. Okay, tips for those who can cook. What specifically? Anything specific?
something easy, because sometimes you just got to help those out who can't even crack an egg. Chef Brandon.
All right. Let me see. What can I think that's easy? I don't know. Let's see. All right, let's talk about roasting chicken. How about I love roast chicken. So,
All
all
right, let's do it.
right. So, um, when you the key thing to when you're roasting chicken is that you want to make sure that you truss the bird, which is tie the bird, so that way it's a uniform, so that way it cooks evenly. You want to make sure your bird is room temperature, because if it's room temperature, it's going to cook a little faster versus taking it from a cold refrigerator and putting it straight in the oven. Um, you want to start your chicken off at 400 degrees because you want to oven sear and get nice golden brown color on the outside of the bird. And then once you do that for like 20 to 30 minutes, 25, 30 minutes, depending upon the heat of your oven, because every oven is different. You want to turn the temperature down to 350 and cook the bird the rest of the way until the juices run clear. And then you'll have a nice, crispy, caramelized, beautiful golden brown, whole roasted chicken. All right.
So I don't want to hear any excuses that you can't cook a chicken. Oh, Kiana says, I feel like I can never cook less than an hour.
Said the best way to make the gravy from the drippings. The best way to make the gravy is from the drippings. So basically, after you roasted the chicken, all those juices in the bottom of the pan, you're gonna strain that out into a saucepan. You add some flour to it with a whisk, which when you do that, you're making a roux, ROUX, and then you take some chicken stock and you whisk the chicken stock into the roux, bring it to a boil, and it starts to thicken it. And then you let that simmer for about 35 40 minutes so you can cook out a little bit of the flour, and that's it. If you're from the South, you came up how I came up. My mother used to make smothered fried chicken, and the way she used to do it was just how I just showed you. She used to take some of the grease from the frying chicken, pour it out, add some flour in there, and she added water instead of chicken stock. She added water. She thickened it up. She also put onions in there too. So she put onions first, sweated them out, add flour, then she added water, and then she put the chicken back in the pan and warmed it up. Smothered fried chicken. So it's the same thing as making it. She just basically made a gravy, but she didn't know that. But she did what her ancestors told her how to do. So that's the best way to make gravy for your roast chicken.
All right. So Kiana, I guess we're gonna be when things open up, we're gonna be coming
Coming to your house.
to make. She goes, oh yes. So Chef Brandon, we are coming up on our hour, so I'm
Yep.
aiming to be respectful of time. I want to thank you so much for taking time out of your busy schedule to share with the audience. Again, where could we find you?
You can find me at www.essiesrestaurantpk.com, Instagram, Essies Restaurant PK, Twitter, Essies Rest, Facebook, Essies Restaurant PK. Thank you again, Anita. I really appreciate the opportunity. Always want to be able to, collaborate with others, like-minded people, and give me this opportunity to reach your base, and it's really great. I really appreciate it. If we can do anything for you, you let us know. We're here for you, and thank you again for giving me this opportunity. I really appreciate it.
And not only that, he from Brownsville, y'all.
That's right, from Brownsville. That's right, baby. Yep.
That is amazing. They say we have some wonderful things that are produced from Brownsville. I don't care what anyone
Yes.
says that we.
Yeah. I want to get back. I want to go back and do something, man. I don't know what to do. Maybe we can talk about that
Okay.
offline. Maybe we can talk about that. I want to do something down there. I want to find a way to give back, do a demo, something. I don't know.
All right. So that's our offline collaborations. You see how
Yeah,
they work? You never stop working, and you always say yes to collaborations.
that's
Always.
right. Because you never know what's gonna happen through it, and you can. It works both ways. It's give and take. Again, you gotta be able to add value to someone else, and they have to add value to you. That's what collaboration basically is: adding value to each other to one common goal.
That is so true.
Whether it be exposure or just getting the word out, or just wanted to do an event to work together. So,
That is so true. So on that note, Chef Brandon, I'm gonna say
yes.
good night. Thank you
All
again
right.
for joining. We're gonna post Chef Brandon's short recipe. Maybe we'll share it on Instagram or something, but no excuses for not knowing how to make gravy and some chicken now. No excuses. No excuses. Chef
Yep.
Brandon gave it to you, and I definitely can vouch for the restaurant. It is a beautiful space. The food is delicious there, and you don't have to have brunch. But even though we're in this space of COVID, again, please think of supporting restaurants again through gift certificates, word of mouth. Thinking about ordering out on the go, because sometimes we just don't want to do it. And for those who are, if that's their space, support.
Yes,
Thank you
ma'am.
so much, Chef Brandon. I look
Thank
forward to
you.
again in person soon. Take good care.
I take care. Have a good night.
All right, you too.
All right.
And so I want to sincerely thank you all for joining. It has been a wonderful discussion with Chef Brandon. Please be sure again to support his business. He is located right near the Hudson Valley Bridge. It is in a really, really good restaurant. And hopefully, we are able to, COVID just really, yeah, it's doing some things, but you still have an opportunity to be able to support all the businesses that appear on this show. So I am excited to just continue this discussion. I'm going to be back on again for 11-3-7-5 on Thursday, and I'm actually going to be talking to two other guests specifically about real estate, what it means to work with veterans who are looking for homes within real estate, and also mental wellness as well. And also, on Wednesday, you're gonna see my face again. I have a very busy week in terms of speaking engagements, and I'm very grateful about all the opportunities that they present. And Wednesday, I'm back on the Brownsville Minute, which actually started the process of getting the voice out there that you so all love so very much. The Brownsville Minute is going to be on Wednesday, November 18th. We are going to be talking specifically about how to connect the dots with crowdfunding and making community change. So please consider checking us out at 11375 and also at Community Board 16 as well. I wanted to also post some of the tips, some of the resources that I mentioned earlier about social media and getting your business brand out there. So here are a few free resources for marketing and design that, if you're on a very small budget, these are advantages. These are items that you can take advantage of. All of these start off free. That you can definitely, if you have basic skill sets, to be able to take advantage of them all. We have Canva, obviously Instagram and Facebook. We have Twitter, we have LinkedIn, we have Linktree, we have Crowdfire, Square, HubSpot, Wix, and Weebly. These are some of the basic free resources that you can start to begin to market and to grow your business and start to utilize it responsibly to be able to grow your business. And I wanted to also put up again information about our last guest last week, Denisha Thompson, who is a consultant, facilitator, and coach. She was our first guest last week. So if you're interested in any of her services, please feel free to reach out to her at www.denisha.com. Here is the landscape of wonderful people, and actually more to come, who are going to be supporting this series, the real journey of an entrepreneur, as we had a wonderful conversation this evening with Chef Brandon Walker that provided us tips, tools, and a nice little how to cook a good chicken with some gravy this evening. Now with Chef Brandon Walker, please be sure that if you're in the area, to check out Essies Restaurant, and he is located in Poughkeepsie. And finally, if you're in need of any of services that is connected with 11375, we will be happy to support you. We are a minority women business enterprise that is focused on connecting the dots with purpose, social impact, integrity, and strategy. And I want to again thank you all for trusting me this evening to be able to be in your space. Thank you for participating, sharing, liking, supporting, because those little things, particularly as a brown woman, brown little girl from Brownsville, is really important. So thank you for trusting me in your space. And I want to salute you all and say good night. Again, we are going to be on Thursday again with two other speakers, and we're actually going to run this series until December. And then we are going to schedule another group of wonderful speakers and entrepreneurs that will be able to provide us real insight as to what it looks like to be an entrepreneur. So on that note, I want to thank you again for taking time out of your schedule. This has been great. I'm going to send you all with my wonderful hugs and virtual kisses until we see each other in person again. Thank you so much. I'm very grateful, and I look forward to seeing you again this week, Thursday. Thank you. (11375) presents The Real Journey of an Entrepreneur, a live discussion that focuses on what it takes to be a real entrepreneur. We are excited to present to you a few courageous individuals who have consistently worked on their craft in the areas of finance, real estate development, mental wellness, the restaurant business, and economic development. They have taken a step of faith to make those dreams come true. We're kicking off this series tonight with a discussion about what it truly means to be a consultant, and we hope that you will join us live or view on replay at 11375. We thank you for supporting.